I've had a change of heart regarding my watch box. I said before that I didn't want an expensive or fancy looking watch box to hold my watches. But after some thought, I now believe that I should have a proper watch box, something nice looking to hold the collection. My collection is advancing, so it now makes sense to have a good quality watch box to hold the watches in between wearing. So I started looking again for a watch box. I looked at Wolf and I looked at Bosphorus, but nothing really caught my eye. But thanks to Jay, one of my viewers, who tipped me off to this brand, Rapport London, or maybe Rapport London, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But I had never heard of this brand, maybe because they're based in the UK and I'm in the US. But all of their products on their website look very high quality. A family-owned company since 1898, they make watch boxes, watch winders, and watch rolls. They make many different sizes of watch boxes, but I chose the 10-slot watch box because I think that's a good size for a collection. I'm currently over 10 watches, but I'm hoping in the future that I can eventually get down to 10 watches in total. This is not a sponsored video, and I paid for this with my own money. The prices are expensive, but they do have premium designs. And as you'll see, I think the quality matches up in terms of the price. The solid wood design is finished with 9 layers of hand-applied lacquer, which gives it a very high gloss finish. Right away, the color of this Macassar finish reminded me of the color of the Patek Philippe presentation box. The design on the outside is very clean and minimal. On the front, there's a keyhole to lock the box, and on the back there are gold-plated hinges. And that's about it for the outside. There's nothing else on the outside to disturb the lines. There's no branding visible from the outside, and the lid aligns perfectly with the rest of the box. The bottom of the box is flat and it's lined with a very thin felt-like material. The box opens very smoothly and it opens at a hard stop and stays open very easily. The interior suede lining is very luxurious, and the brown color of the suede is also very attractive. This color lining complements almost any watch, whether it's steel or yellow gold or white gold or rose gold. And the only visible branding on the inside is in the inside of the lid, and it's not very obtrusive, and I really don't mind it being placed there. Every part of the inside of the box is lined with soft suede, so I'm not really concerned at all about scratching the watch head or the watch bracelets. And the cushions themselves are just perfect. They do come with an outer sleeve for larger size wrists, but I removed them and now this cushion is just the perfect size for my smaller size wrist. And that was the biggest issue with the other watch boxes that I looked at. Most of them had just one size pillows, which were just too large for me. The cushion is soft and squishy, but it's still holding its shape very well. And here's the small key that comes inside the box. As for organization, I have the jewels of the collection right up front in the first row, the Patek Philippe watches. Then I have the Rolex Sports on the top row and the Day-Date on the bottom right. And this makes sense as to how I wear my watches. I put on one of these Patek Philippe watches every day in the morning before going to work, and then after work I switch it out with a Rolex. This is not a collection review, but I'll run through each of these watches very quickly. The 6119G is a very elegant dress watch, my most formal watch. Manual winding, the case is very thin and elegant. It has a hobnail pattern around the bezel and an open case back. It does wear very flat on the wrist and it does not curve, so I wish this was a 37mm instead of a 39. And I've tried it out on this custom Patek Philippe gray alligator wrist strap, but maybe not the best color for this watch, so I think I'll have to go back and reorder the original black strap in a shorter length. The 5205G is my most complicated watch, and I think my most expensive watch. It looks extremely sophisticated and elevated, and just like all other Patek Philippe watches, the closer you look, the more complex it becomes. A beautiful blue gradient dial, a moon phase indicator, scalloped edges on the case, and hollowed out lugs. an annual calendar function, and an open case back. At 40 millimeters, this case design is the most unique, and out of all of them, this fits the best on my wrist. This one is my second most elegant looking Patek Philippe watch. The 5212A in stainless steel, very lightweight and comfortable watch, very unique font on the dial, and has a weekly calendar function. A pearlescent silvery white dial. I switched out the strap to a darker color brown, which is a third-party strap, and this is a very casual watch, and this is definitely in the top 2 of my favorite watches of all time. And my favorite watch, the 5226G. This one looks so much better in person. The textured anthracite dial has a fume pattern. The Arabic hour markers seem to float off the dial. The hobnail pattern extends all the way around the side of the case instead of the bezel. The angular lugs attach to the bottom of the case, and it's a very small gap between the lugs and the side of the case. Thanks to another viewer who sent me a link to an article in the Rapport about this watch, and that explains the attraction of this watch much better than I can. And even though this watch may look like a Hamilton khaki watch to an observer, wearing it personally and looking up close at this watch, I can see the magic of this watch. Private luxury, expensive but inconspicuous, with an elevated tactile and visual experience. The yellow gold date with the champagne dial is a classic looking Rolex dress watch. The 36mm size on this watch fits my wrist perfectly, and it has a nice hefty weight to it. I haven't been wearing this recently very much, but it's something that I'll always keep in the collection, and I'm not going to sell it. The 36mm Explorer has been a staple in my collection this summer. I had not been wearing it very frequently over the winter, but now that I'm wearing short sleeve t-shirts, I'm wearing this more and more often, going out for a run or just around the house on the weekend. The 41mm Submariner is still fairly new in my collection, but I'm surprised by how much I've been actually wearing this watch. This is a staple in my rotation, and this might actually be my most worn Rolex at this time. It's just so comfortable on the wrist and hefty at the same time, and that glide lock clasp, it gives you that perfect fit on the wrist. This goes with just about any casual outfit, and so far this summer, the Submariner and the Explorer have been my go-to watches. The white gold Pepsi gets worn in waves. Sometimes it gets worn frequently, and sometimes it gets put away for a while. The white gold is very hefty and reassuring on the wrist. The dial looks mostly black most of the time, but in the bright direct sunlight, it gives you that flash of blue on the dial. This is still a very attractive watch to me, and I think if you can get this for under retail, I think it's a good value. Maybe my flashiest watch, the full yellow gold Daytona. This is the previous version, which is discontinued. It has that Paul Newman style dial, which is kind of a retro look to it, and it has that red chronograph hand, which I think they changed in the current version. Very impressive looking on the wrist, and I still enjoy wearing this watch. And comparing it with the current version Daytona on the Oyster Flex in Everrose Gold and the Sundust dial. The current Daytona case looks slightly bulkier, but the Oyster Flex tones down the watch overall and makes it a slightly more casual watch. And the addition of the glide lock clasp on the Oyster Flex makes this very easy to get a perfect fit. So that's my new Watchbox from Rapport London and how it looks when it's filled up with watches. This is a very high quality watch box, and I really have no complaints about it. It is very expensive, but these types of watches do deserve to have a high quality watch box to sit in. And as a bonus, I do have 2 other watch pouches that are useful during travel. This one is from Rolex and made of a brown leather. This is a gift from the authorized dealer, which you may be able to get if you purchase a nice Rolex. The interior is made of a nice suede soft material, And there's a pouch on the inside which will hold your Rolex. Overall, this is a nice high quality watch pouch, which is very compact, but it also gives very good protection to your watch. And this one is a travel box from Patek Philippe, also another gift from the authorized dealer. And this one is even looking higher quality. The superb brown leather is smooth, and this brown leather matches perfectly with the brown leather folder that holds the certificate of ownership for your watch. Inside is very high quality, also very softly lined, and it has a cushion which is removable. But overall, the watch box is more bulky and more difficult to carry around, so I end up using the Rolex pouch more often when I travel. Let me know in the comments, do you like to splurge on expensive watch boxes? And what is your favorite brand of watch boxes or watch pouches or watch winders?